My name is Lanny, Lavalley, and that was in E4. In April of 1969, I was discharged, honorable discharge. So my life in the military was over, but there was a lot of, I guess, benefits, a lot of things you learn about people in life. I was a little bit older when I had gone in the military. I was 21, and actually I turned 21 in boot camp in February of 1966. And when I got out, I had just turned 24. So I was a little bit older than some of the guys, a lot of the guys. A lot of guys are 17, 18, 19, 20. So I was a little bit older. I don't think it really mattered that much. Everybody was in the same game. Everybody did the same things. But you learn, you know, basically about people, about life, and you carried a lot of that with you, different cultures. You carried some of the good, some of the bad. But it was an experience that I probably wouldn't change. Every job that you would find in a civilian city, town, village, where you had every one of those jobs aboard ship. There were firemen, there were cops, there were cooks. Anything you would find in a city today, there was somebody aboard that ship that did that job. From damage control people to firing the ships, what they call firing the guns, fire control technicians. There were gunner's mates, who obviously gunner's mates, bosun mates who took care of the exterior of the ship. They did the painting, they did the exterior work on a ship. Every job you could think of. Everybody was cross-trained. Just because I was an electrician, as I had mentioned earlier, I was cross-trained at working in the boiler rooms. I also was a fireman. So if you had a fire aboard ship, which was very dangerous, you had firemen. And I had gone to 6 different firefighting schools during my career. The 4 years I was in, there was, when you pull in port, there wasn't a lot for you to do. So a lot of the men went to additional training. Sonarmen would go advanced training in sonar. Boilermen would go and learn the new boiler techniques. You know, so we all had additional training into different schools that you attended in order to keep you updated and in the latest that you could do to prevent, you know, issues aboard ship. So there, it was just a lot of different things. You made up a lot of different things. So when you came, actually, when you came out of the military, you had a lot of experience. I did, and I think most guys did. Experience in a lot of different things in life's careers. And the Navy always promoted the fact that the best schools, the best training was in the Navy. And I know that. I used it after my military years as an electrician. At one time in my life, I did electrical contracting. I had a small electrical contracting business. And the reason I did was because of my training in the Navy. I was actually a teacher for 32 years. After I got out of the military, I worked for a pharmaceutical company, and wasn't quite what I wanted to do. I was a quality control inspector. It's a good job, good pay, good benefits, but it wasn't really what I wanted. So I've been married in the meantime, had my oldest son, and my wife and I both decided to go back to college. I had 2 years, she had 1 year. So we went back, both finished up. I finished up before her because I had 2 years previously, which was transferable. And also at the college level, they accepted some of my credits in science and math that I had trained for in the electrical field. They accepted math, so I didn't have to take any, well, I took 1 or 2 math courses in college, but I didn't have to take more. They accepted my physical training. I didn't have to take phys ed in college because my 4 years in the military, they knew I was physically fit. I didn't have to take some science courses because of all the science involved with electrical work. You're dealing with, you know, physics basically, and electronics and so on. So a lot of these courses that I had taken, I had brought to the university, and the university looked at it and said, yeah, okay, this is acceptable. We'll put that as a 3-credit course. We'll do this, do this. So I finished, actually, I was able to transfer 1 year out of the 2 years of junior college. And then I went another 1.5 years. So I finished 4 years of college in 3 years, and for a bachelor's degree. And then the GI Bill, at that time, which wasn't much, I was getting $230 a month for a GI Bill, and I lived in public housing. My wife and I and my oldest son, we lived in public housing, and that was in 1972, and I graduated with my bachelor's degree. Then I continued, moved out of public housing. In 1975, I got a master's degree in science and education. Then in 1978, I continued because I could use the GI Bill as supplemental income. I was hired as a teacher in 1972, and I taught and still continued graduate courses for my master's and what they called at the time a CAS degree, which was I'm certified as a school administrator. I could be a superintendent of schools, a building principal, anything to do with that. So I had all my licensing. I went back and got a second master's degree in communication, and so I had 2 bachelors, 2 masters, and an advanced degree, a 60-hour degree in administration. So that's what I used for my years, and it was all, not all, but it was promoted and certainly helped through the GI Bill. And so one of the benefits that I got was that, and I used some of my life experiences in taking courses and talking to, I was older, I wasn't an 18-year-old when I had taken those courses, so I sometimes would talk to other young students about military and so on and so forth, and I also used it during my teaching years. My students used to love, I would bring in, excuse me, when in the military, you took a lot of pictures. Everybody had a camera. So I would take pictures of different places that I had visited, experiences, whatever, and I would show that to my kids. They really would love, they love doing that. And one of the first questions, some of the kids, if I had their older brothers and sisters, they say, when are you going to show the video, Mr. When are you going to show your slides? And I know a number of them went into the military, in the Navy, because of some of that previous, because they've spoken with me. Mr. Lavalley, I went into Navy because of that. And so, so anyway, that's, pretty much what I've done. Visited a lot of countries. I was lucky. I have friends who were in the Navy that went into boot camp with me at the same time. They didn't have the experiences. They didn't do the travels. One of them never even stepped aboard a ship. In his 4 years, he was strictly land-based. So not all Navy are ocean-going Navy. There's a number of them that never stepped foot aboard a ship. And I don't think I would have liked that. It was a good experience. Nothing that I've ever regretted. Pretty much that's what happened. Visited, again, sailed all the seas. Been to all the oceans except the Antarctic, and in my career I think I visited 36 different countries. So there was a lot of good during my experiences in the military.